Hello all, I'm Vinod Shankaran. Today we will see that how can we do cross tabulation method in chi-square test using Minitab. So here we have got a data which says that there is a research company. They are using 4 regional centers in the country. That is north, south, east, and west to input the data of questionnaire responses. They audit certain percentage of questionnaire responses versus the data entry. Any error in the data entry renders it as defective. The manager wants to check whether the percentage defective varies by regional office. So there are 4 regions. So the manager wants to know that the data entry error of each region is different from the others, or all are the same. All the data entry of all the 4 regions are same. Okay, so this is the data available with us. Now what we have to do? We have to first create one null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis. So null hypothesis is the data entry, the proportion rather the proportion of data entry, the proportion of okay, not okay, not okay of the proportion of okay and not okay. Here okay is 0 and 1 is designated as not okay. So this is okay, 0 is designated as okay and 1 is designated as not okay. So this proportion of okay 0 and 1, the okay and not okay proportion of all the 4 regions, whether they are same or is there any one region is different from the other. That's what we want to test. So the null hypothesis is that the proportion of okay not okay of all regions are same. Okay. Now the alternate hypothesis is the proportion of okay not okay of all regions are not the same, right? And the test we have to do, hypothesis test, what we have to do is testing. What we have to do is chi-square test, chi-square test, because this we are dealing with the proportion. So proportion is a discrete that attribute data, right? So we have got the data available with us. This will take it to, there are 2 methods of doing it. One is we'll discuss the first one, then we'll discuss the second one, correct? Okay, so first one we will be discussing now. So I am taking this data to Minitab screen. Sorry. This data we are going to take it to Minitab screen. Control. I am taking it to Minitab screen. Okay. Now Minitab cannot handle as it is. If the data is in each column, then what we have to do? We have to do a stacking, right? So go to stat, go to data, stack columns. Which are the columns you have to stack? North, south, east, west. And I am going to stack it in the same workbook. So I am putting it as column in the current worksheet. If you want a new worksheet, you can use this one, but we will be doing in the same worksheet. So the data I am going to enter into C7, and its subscripts, that is north, east, south, and west, will be in C6. I'm just saying okay. Correct. So we got the zones. I'm naming it as zones, and this is the data. What I have done is that this region wise, I put it in the same columns, right? So north is first, followed by south, then you will have west and east, right? So instead of we are currently change this data from instead of individual columns, I have stacked it to two columns, right? So that is how we have to do the chi-square test. So once again, I'll just tell you data, go to stack, then go to columns. You select all the north, east, west, and all the four region you select. Then you select two columns, right? Any two columns in your workbook, and just say okay. You will get this in two columns. One talks about subscripts. In our subscript, we are saying north, south, east, west is four zones, right? So this is your zone, and this is your data. Okay, so just this is converted in this format. That's all. Now we have to do chi-square test. So go to stat. Now there is tables. Then we have to go for cross tabulation and chi-square. Just click here. You put your data here and the zone here. You can do the either way, other way also. And go to chi-square. Go to chi-square test. Maybe you can expected cell counts. You can select each cell's contribution. You can select. Just say okay and okay. Now you got your data readily available, right? So here, what is our interest? We got how many zeros are there. Its expected count is given. It's a difference between the expected count and the observed count is given. So all those things are given, but our interest is that look into p-value and conclude. So what is the p-value? The p-value is 0.632. 0.632 tells us that since the p-value is more than 0.05, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. Null hypothesis. In other words, we can conclude that there is no different there are no different between regions. There are no difference between regions, right? So this is what our conclusion, right? So this is how we can do using chi-square test, and you have to look into p-value and conclude that here the p-value is more than 0.05. You have to conclude that there are no difference between individual regions. In other words, we can say all the regions are having the same amount of okay not okay proportion, right? Now this is one method. This another method also, that also we'll just look into. So the same data. Now here what I have done is that east, north, west and south. Instead of taking like this, I have summarized it. That means the east, there are 0 stands for okay and 1 stands for not okay. Correct? So there are in east there are 178 zeros are there, 22 ones are there. North there are 175 zeros are there and 25 ones are there. South there are 179 zeros are there and 21 ones are there. West there are 183 zeros and 17 not okay, that is ones are there, right? So these are all the defectives, right? Defective entries in the data. These are all the okay entries data. Okay is denoted by 0 and not okay is denoted by 1, right? And if you add, you will get 200, 200, 200. So each data is having, there are 200 entries are there. So that is what is this 200. If you add, you will get 200, right? And if you add the column rows, you will get these numbers, right? Your total is 800 number, right? Now you can summarize this data in this way, and this data you can take it to a mini tab. That way also you can do the same test. So what we will do, we will not take the entire one. We will just take the data summary only. So this much only we have to take. Don't take all this, what are total sum you don't have to require. You don't require. You require only the data. How many zeros are there? How many ones are there? So I am just taking it there. Go to mini tab and I am just pasting here. Right here, I'll denote as maybe zeros or one. Okay, you can call it as observation. Right, observation. I'll call it as observation. Right. I'm just giving you some name, right? That's all. There is no specific. So 0 denote as not okay, and 1 denote as 0 denote as okay, and 1 denote as not okay. Fine. So this is another method of doing chi-square. Just go to stat tables, again cross tabulation in chi-square. Here the data is summarized data. So instead of raw data, we have to take a summarized data because we have summarized it, right? Now, which are all the columns? We have east, north, west, and south. So you have to put this one. Okay. This is showing as 1, 1, 1, 1 because this is already there are names north, south, east, and west. Okay, so that is why when you are second time when it is written like this, it is considered as a new data. That's why it is automatically by default it has taken as east one, north one, south one, and west one. Right. So that one we have to take east, north, south. Double click it, west, and you can put observation. Right. This one into let's say optional. You can just put observation. Now you go to chi-square, do the expected all these things. Just say okay. Just say okay. So you got the same p-value. Right. So your conclusion is that since the p-value is same conclusion. Since the p-value is more than 0.5, we fail to reject the null hypothesis, or we can conclude that there are no difference between these regions. Okay, so hope this is um, useful to you. Thank you very much for watching the video.